Situated in the heart of the wet tropics of North Queensland, 20 kilometres south of Cairns, the Mulgrave catchment covers an area of 810 square kilometres. Stretching to the west, it encompasses the Wiranurun National Park as far as the crater lake of Lake Breen on the Atherton Tableland, and to the east is bordered by the coastal Melbourne-Thompson Range. The northern border is near the township of Gordonvale, and it extends to the village of Deerell in the south. The catchment is largely defined by the Mulgrave River, which winds its way through the Mulgrave Valley to meet with the Russell River and enter the ocean together near Deerell at Russell Heads. Other major waterways are Bahena Creek, Tooheys Creek, Butchers Creek, Little Mulgrave, Fishery Falls and Fig Tree Creek, to name a few. The Mulgrave Valley is dominated by sugarcane growing on the coastal plain, and cane is milled at the Mulgrave Mill at Gordonvale. The Mulgrave Landcare and Catchment Group was formed in the early 1990s, shortly after the Landcare movement started nationwide.
This is just another example of what revegetation can do.
In these 27 years, the group has evolved into an eclectic mix of farmers, landholders, scientists, teachers, townsfolk and citizens interested in local environmental issues such as streambank revegetation, sustainable agriculture, wetland rehabilitation, water quality, groundwater issues and school and community engagement. Meetings are held monthly in Gordonvale and are regularly attended by 20 to 30 members. Actual membership is about 70, with many preferring to be involved with on-ground tree planting and other activities.
Hold on, baby, you can put the tree. You're going to put the tree in?
Yeah.
This Landcare group is very special and unique because it is pretty much run by farmers. That is quite unique because Landcare and agriculture don't always get along.
An executive committee organises the planning and deals with issues as they arise in conjunction with our part-time Landcare coordinator.
My name is Bruce Corcoran. I was the Mulgrave Landcare coordinator when this Biodiversity Project started all those years ago. This singular large project didn't just happen in isolation. We had been doing a lot of similar works in the catchment up until then. And all of those smaller projects were strategically done so that they would eventually one day link together and give us a sum greater than the parts. And the Biodiversity Project has done exactly that. So we had all these other little satellite projects happening around, some of them linked, some are a bit disjoint. The scale of the Biodiversity Project helps fill probably 90% of those remaining gaps. So it not only achieved its own outcomes, it brought together the cumulative effects of all those projects we've been doing for 15 years.
Starting in 2012, the Biodiversity Fund Project had specific targets to achieve. These included significant block planting of trees to improve biodiversity, enhancement plantings of gaps in riparian corridors, control of weeds of national significance, hymenacne and pond apple, engage local traditional owners in specific projects, develop and train a work crew, including Indigenous and other local youth in environmental activities, engage with schools and other community groups, form partnerships with local council, primary stakeholders, landowners and other environmental groups, improve water quality outcomes and develop local expertise and innovation. The project specified that 10 hectares would be planted in larger areas to improve outcomes that cannot be obtained by smaller strip plantings. These larger plantings create habitat that wildlife can establish viable and successful populations in. Generally, these plantings were adjacent to waterways and other riparian zones, creating better connectivity to existing habitat.
We've noticed increased numbers of birds such as top-knot pigeons, brown pigeons, even ground-dwelling birds like junglefowl and cassowary. There's been secretive birds like the wrens have moved in, little fantails have come in, and even more paddymelons, echidnas.
The Landcare Group engaged with many landholders and has fostered a stewardship concept based on the realisation that best results are obtained when the owners are actively involved and interested in the project. In a relatively short period, such as 2 or 3 years, real change can be seen as biodiversity returns to these areas. Real change often occurs with the owners also, as they witness the transformation of degraded land into naturally beautiful habitat for plants, animals and people. Enhancement plantings are projects generally smaller in size than the block plantings, but improve connectivity on riparian corridors by joining the dots. Large sections of the Mulgrave River and its tributaries are well vegetated, and so by repairing the degraded areas where erosion or weeds have destroyed the riparian cover, great results can be obtained. This repair often involves rockwork and weed control to ensure the success of the trees planted and forms a major part of the group's tree planting activities. During the project, the Landcare Group held 31 community events. This involved hundreds of volunteers planting seedlings on over 17 hectares.
Over this project, we've managed to engage 21 landholders, as what we expected, and we've planted 33,000 trees over those 5 years.
The wet tropics has many weed issues facing it, as conditions suit the rapid spread of these invasive pests. Specifically, pond apple, which is a woody introduced tree, and hymenacne, a ponded pasture grass, were targeted in the Biodiversity Project. Pond apple has proven to be very difficult to control and remains a massive problem, especially in the lower reaches of the Mulgrave. Positive results through mechanical removal and spraying efforts were limited. This will need major future works involving many groups and resources. Hymenacne was more successfully controlled using a combination of quad bike and boat spraying. Through the spraying efforts of the Council and Landcare Group, some level of control has been obtained. Efforts to alert farmers and other landholders of its presence has also occurred through shed meetings and industry newsletters. A strong relationship with local traditional owners exists through our shared interest in the natural wonders of the valley.
My name's Clive Murray. I'm a traditional owner of this land here. I belong to the Wanyuramajay Aboriginal Corporation here. It's been a great pleasure working with Landcare. These people are fantastic. Always inviting me along to meetings and keeping me up to speed to what they're doing on country as well. And I'm really grateful for that, working with Landcare.
A specific section of our Hemmings Creek planting was dedicated to bush tucker, ceremonial plants and endangered species. This block was planted and maintained by local Indigenous people and allowed a passing of wisdom and law from elders to the younger ones. Mulgrave Landcare acknowledges and respects the various Indigenous groups in the area and looks forward to partnering with them all in the future. Over the time of the project, the group employed a full-time youth as supervisor and 5 part-time youth as work crew, giving them excellent on-ground experience in conservation and land management. An Indigenous crew of 4 from Barmer Services were contracted to work with our work crew on the lower Mulgrave River. 4 Indigenous youth and 1 elder supervisor worked on our Hemmings Creek site, which in turn provided a training area for a group of 15 youth from Dullabud Mullumbburra Aboriginal Corporation. The Green Army was also utilised on several projects with activities such as weeding, mulching and potting up of seedlings. They are a well supervised and productive unit that assisted our activities whilst providing experience and training to themselves. During the project, our group engaged with many school children through their presence at tree plantings. In addition, our Landcare coordinators were actively assisting these school groups in their own environmental activities. Landcare Lisa became a real favourite with students from Gordonvale Primary, Aloomba State School and Jarragon College, to name a few.
The project's been really good for the community, especially because we've been able to spend a lot of the money from the project in the community. So we've been able to hire people locally, source trees locally, hire machinery, and a lot of the stuff was spent in our little town of Gordonvale, which helped out a lot. It had a real local flavour about it.
A presence was maintained at various local fetes, environmental days and community markets, with our stall and members engaging with the locals. Forming strong partnerships is more than just a cliche. Our group has forged strong partnerships with a diverse number of parties.
As far as the partnerships in this project go, the biggest one and most important one really has been with the landowners themselves. Even where parts of the river corridor that we've been working on are riverland or public tenure of one sort or another, access is through private property and some of the work itself is on private property. And having that cooperation of landholders is so important, and then the direct assistance from the landholders themselves, helping with planting and maintenance and site preparation and weed control is just huge.
We've strengthened our partnership with our Cairns Regional Council, but we've had other partnerships as well with conservation volunteers. The Green Army were a great help at one stage. All the local schools have been involved in this project, which is great.
The group is supported by a very active volunteer base. We're also supported by the local businesses, the churches, the schools, the traditional owners, various government departments, DNRM and Transport Main Roads have been supportive.
We've had Maryborough Sugar, who's a large landholder in the area themselves, letting us do work on one of their wettest farms in the area. For this project in particular, the Cairns Regional Council's Pest Management Unit put in an enormous amount of work and contributed an enormous amount of in-kind capital equipment.
Our philosophy is that together by pooling resources, expertise, local know-how and experience, great results can be achieved. I'm Tony Rossi. I'm Chairman of the Mulgrave Landcare and Catchment Group. I'm also a cane farmer on the Mulgrave River. The Biodiversity Fund has allowed our group to work on the corridors that come across the valley. By revegetating degraded areas, we've been able to provide excellent corridors for animals, and also from a water quality aspect, just the shading of the water allows the water to travel to the Mulgrave River with maximum cooling, and it really helps the water quality by preventing erosion on the riverbanks as well. The group continues to be the sample collectors for the Great Barrier Reef Load Monitoring Project on the Mulgrave, Russell and Johnston rivers.
We've been able to harness local expertise. A lot of the jobs have been quite difficult. There's been, we sort of picked the sites because they were difficult. Some were very sandy and dry, others were just like rock pits, others had a lot of erosion problems. And we had to show a bit of initiative to take on the planting of the trees there and rehabilitation of the sites. So it really challenged us all, but over those 5-6 years we were able to really capture the sites, and it's amazing what change we've seen there.
What we've done so far is got the minimum that's needed so that in future we can build on that, so that in 75 years time or so we can have critical mass along those corridors, so that many of the benefits that we've just achieved now can be multiplied many times.
Having this fund really allowed us to target some big areas. Without this sort of funding, a group really can't target the areas as well as you need to. So yeah, it's been fantastic to be able to get the trees into the places we needed them. We feel that it was the first time in all the time I've been in Landcare since the 90s that we've had the right way that we could do this. We had the right backing and all the partnerships to be able to make it happen, make some real landscape change.
Oh, the whole community benefits from this, definitely. It was a tremendous type of funding. We've got a lot to show for it.
Oh, I just enjoy planting the trees. Might as well give something back to it, and it feels good.
This was a great 5-year project initiated by the government, and I'm really hoping that people will see the great gain that we have done here and all the wonderful things that we've done for the whole catchment and the environment, and that inspires the government to fund this amount of money again over that long period.